All right, peace everyone. What's up? Welcome to Beyond Breaking Barriers. I'm your host, Piper Carter, and we're live. So, let everyone know to like, share, and subscribe to Black Power Media. We have a wonderful guest today. I'm so excited about the guest that we have today. She's a legend, a living legend, amazing, incredible MC, writer, and so much more. So we're going to learn a bit more about her. Shouts out to our beloved Kalanji, who is like, that's my sister. And I've been a fan for a long time. And I'm just very honored that she has the opportunity to stop by and spend a little time with us and share about herself. So, without further ado, I want to welcome Star. Peace, Star. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you, sis? Peace,
I'm
everybody.
good.
Okay, we're
Yeah.
live.
Yeah, we're live. We're
Oh,
we're
wow.
live, and there's
Okay.
people in the chat. I want to say peace to the Black Power Media chat.
Peace. All
And
right. I can't see them.
if you, it says comments. I don't know if
Oh,
you see
gotcha,
that.
gotcha.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I see it.
Yes.
Rouse pasta sauce. Hi. I have been wanting to try that. It's like that's the one that's like $9 a jar. And I'm like, one day I'm gonna try it because it's gotta be amazing.
Okay, that's what's up.
But I've definitely seen it. It's on my radar.
Oh, beautiful.
For
See,
sure.
that's what's up. Supporting businesses.
Yes.
Yeah, so once again, let folks know to like, share, subscribe, and also check out all of Star's links in the description. Check out her music, all her music videos. We're gonna have a wonderful, lively discussion. And just to kick us off, Star, just for the people who may not be familiar with who you are, I'm gonna allow you to just do, you know, the regular intro that you want to do, then we could get into everything.
Hi, Mr. Faulty. All right. So, for those who don't know, my name is Star. That's StaHHr. So, if you have ever seen Star spelled that way, it's me. I'm the only one. Back in the 90s, I had a moniker attached to the name, the Femcee, which stood for Feminine Energy, Mastering Creativity to Elevate Eternal. And then it caused this really big brouhaha amongst women in hip hop because they didn't want to be Femcees, and I didn't want them to be Femcees either because I was the Femcee. So I stopped using it around 2008. So I've also gone under the nom de plume of Anjelika on Food, which is an MF Doom album, and Empress Star on Born Like This, which is another MF Doom album. Those names were chosen by Doom, and I found out when they were released. I'm like, oh, it's gonna just say Star. So that was his, that was the villain kicking in. I'm based in Atlanta. I've been in Atlanta since 1989. Been a part of the scene since about 96, 97. Yeah, and I mean, I don't know what else to say. That's the long and short of it. I'm a very proficient freestyle off the top of the dome. I consider myself to be a hip hop historian. I definitely embrace all aspects of the culture. I've never tried to DJ. I definitely used to try to get my little B girl on. I've tried to get my graph on. I got a couple of tags I threw up. Yeah. So, and I MC. I've spoken on a collegiate level about hip hop at Wesleyan University back in 2010. I've worked in the correctional facilities. I've gone into the Atlanta Federal Pen and performed for some of the inmates there. So I'm working with the chaplain. So yeah, I've been out here. And I also make t-shirts. I didn't make this one. This is a culture ref, which I absolutely love because this is like one of my she rolls. So I had to wear Flojo today. I used to want to be a track star when I was young, and she was like because she was so beautiful and she had the nails and then she was just so dope. And that's basically it.
Okay, so can we start with a freestyle?
Ooh, I don't know. I mean, we could do it. It may or may not be good, but ooh, yeah. Maybe later we can do that.
Okay, once we get into it. Okay. That's what people. The Kalanji's in the building.
It's a little rusty since I don't use it as much as I used to, but the ability is there. So
So
we'll
Kalanji's
circle
there.
back to that.
Yeah, Kalanji said, "What's up?"
Hi, what's up, Kalanji? Oh,
Yeah.
Timothy, that's awesome. What's up, Megatone? Okay, I see people that I know and they're cool. So people did listen to me telling them on,
Mhm. That's what's up.
Twitter and Instagram to like log in. So thank you.
Yeah. So, there's so much I can ask you. I mean, I know I'm trying to think of where we should even go first. Where do you want to go first?
Um, hmm, where do I want to go first?
Mhm.
Let's talk about motherhood.
Yes.
We could definitely talk about motherhood and how that impacts, me as an artist.
You know what's
Yeah.
interesting? Like I was telling you before, so many of my friends so many of my women friends and guys are parents, right?
Mhm.
And I did this I organized this panel once, and Maimuna Yusuf was on there, Moo Fresh,
Yes.
and she told a story about when she and Yazara and them used to do background for Erica Badu,
Mhm.
and how Erica had the trailers, like the tour bus trailers,
Right.
and that they had one whole tour bus trailer that was like a homeschool,
Oh, wow.
that was like just for their kids, and then they had like a doula, and they had just like they would take turns like babysitting, and well, I shouldn't say babysitting, caring for the kids. They would take
Right.
turns caring for their children, and then like doing homeschool, and then but then they would breastfeed, and it was like a whole like thing, like when
Oh,
they're on
that's
tour.
just so amazing.
And I'm wondering, because like everybody, like, conversely, on the same panel, Jessica Caremore was there, and she said how her experience was 180 degrees opposite of that. How she'd always be like missing her son, how she had challenges with her child's father, and it was like all this kind of like negative drama. So,
Mm.
everyone's got different
Right.
stories about being an MC,
Right.
being a professional MC, and then
Right.
like being in this business. And what's your path? Like, what's your story as being a mother and being an MC?
So, yes. I can relate to Jessica Caremore's story probably more than Erica's, although Erica's is the one that ideally I would have had. Like in an ideal world, I would have been all over that. But the reality was, I took really 2 years out of my life to just focus on being a mother. I stayed at home with my son. I didn't work. I breastfed. We didn't do babysitters or any of that. My son's father and I broke up when my son was 2, and so it became a little challenging because he was going back and forth between the two households, and then he remarried, so then that brought another person into that dynamic, which also presented its own set of challenges. And overall, I had a pretty good support system in terms of if I had to do a show, I had somebody that would watch him. But like going on tour, I don't think that would have been possible for me to do with my son at a small age, because I fed him a specific type of diet, and whoever I was going to leave him with, I needed to know for sure that they were going to, stick to that, because that was very important to me back then. And there were just a lot of other things, going on. And then I just kind of felt like there was this whole new crop of women that had, started rhyming when I was off the scene being a mommy. And so when you come back, these are not your peers necessarily because you were there, prior to them, but we're all in the same pool. And it was like, women that don't have children don't have the same limitations. So there was just certain things I wasn't going to be able to do, even down to the point of like being able to get the fresh gear, or keep up with the look, because I got parental responsibilities, and there's just certain things I couldn't necessarily do because I had to be a responsible parent first. You know what I'm saying? So I had no problem taking breaks at any time I felt that motherhood and music were battling with each other, because motherhood was going to always win for me because I really didn't have an option for it not to. You know what I mean? I had to be there as a mother. I couldn't just leave my son. I mean, I could have left my son with his father, but then again, like I said, there were other components in that situation. And, you know, I didn't want to have to deal with that. So I chose motherhood over music, and music got backburnered quite a lot. My son is a teenager now, and now I'm just like, I haven't recorded anything in like 2 years because I've been doing other life stuff. So it's just kind of like, now that I can do it, well, you know, I have the space to do it, but it's not necessarily I guess the motivation is not as strong. So this is weird because like when I didn't have children, I was very distracted by a lot of other things. So kind of like when I had my son, it kind of sparked something in me to continue to do the music, but then I had to be a mother. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that I probably would have been able to do a lot more if I had been able to, like, okay, I can leave my son with this person for a month and I feel totally comfortable and I'm good, you know. But I just kind of a controlling person, so I wasn't. I gotta be honest. Like I'm also like a control freak, so I'm like, no, I can't do that.
But it's an
At that
interesting
time, I couldn't do that.
but that's interesting too, right? Like, I mean, this might be a different topic, but I do a lot of like activism, and in our grassroots feminism circles and things that we talk about how the burden or the labor of caring for people, but
Right.
especially for children, is mostly attributed to the woman and
Absolutely.
the black woman or the Latino woman, or but that you know is like an expectation, you know what I mean, that the mother has the care. And so it's interesting because a lot of the guys that I'm cool with, that are MCs and stuff, they've got kids, but they don't have no problem going on tour for like 6 months at a time. I mean, when I my friends that I know whose parents are in the industry or whatever, and they grew up with their parent being famous or in the industry, we were talking about this before. A lot of the kids I know that are offspring of that are very disgruntled about that. Like
Mhm.
that their parent, that a lot, not all, I'll say many have said like, hey, they didn't have enough access to their parent. So I'm
Right.
wondering, it feels like your kids may actually have benefited more from having their parent,
Oh,
their mother, yeah,
absolutely.
be
And
present
then
in
the
that
thing
way.
about it too, because hip hop is often seen through this lens of, oh, it's a young man, it's a young woman's sport. I mean, hip hop is only 50 years old, so we're still, you know, uh setting the parameters of like, how old is too old? Is there a too old? And I feel like any other genre of music, it's totally normal and totally acceptable for people to tour well into their 60s and 70s. I've seen some of the comments on social media like, oh my God, somebody's 30 years old and they just started rapping. And it's just insane because when you become 30, when you become 40, oh, shoot, I didn't, can I?
You're good. You're
Okay.
okay.
You turn 40. 40 is not really old. 50 is not really old.
Hmm.
60 isn't really old. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, let's say you live to be 100 years old. Let's just say you live to be 100.
Yeah.
You're not even halfway through your life at 40 if you were to live to be. And I think that as long as you can do something well and you're not out here looking foolish and looking like a clown, keep doing it. If people
Hmm.
want to hear it, keep doing it. So I think maybe that, that, oh, I'm gonna miss this window of opportunity. I'm gonna, it's really still there as long as you still have the talent. I don't feel like, I think that ageism, I mean, sexism is definitely a thing, but ageism in hip hop, woo,
Oh yeah, it's a big thing.
it's ridiculous.
Well, you know what's interesting too, because like for me, I would put you in a I don't want to say category, but I see you as a person that's outside of like that music industry matrix. So like your fans are like your true fans.
Absolutely.
So, you know, like you can go anywhere and it doesn't, people are coming because they want to see you. They're not worried
Right.
about like your hits. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right, right. I mean, and that's real. And that's the dope thing about being an independent artist, because again, you're really not, when I hear people say, oh, this person is, I really can't stand this. When people say that somebody is underrated.
Mm,
Underrated by whose standards?
yeah.
Because if you know who they are, and I know who they are, and that person knows who they are, you know, you could live off of having 1,000. I mean, if you have a really 100, if you got 100 to 1,000 hardcore solid fans that are gonna buy every album you release, every piece of merch you release, they're gonna come see you when you were in town. You can live off of that.
Mhm.
You can live off of that. Like, I don't think people really put the numbers to work when they think about, like, you don't need 1 million people to be your fan to make a living off of your music,
Mhm.
and a comfortable living at that.
Mhm.
I know artists that tour all the time. They stay overseas. They've never had any level of mainstream success. They stay overseas. They stay on the road. They stay selling out merch. So it is possible. It's just like the you got to have a business mindset, and you have to have hustle. You can't just post a song and then like, oh, my friends didn't retweet my song, that's why I'm not famous. I can't stand that either. Like, stop being a freaking crybaby and pay the money to get your, to what you need to do for your promo or whatever. It's like the myth that somebody's gonna go viral. Even I think some of that stuff is a setup. Like when these
Mm.
things go viral, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Or where do
Mhm.
these challenges? Do we really know where these challenges are really coming from? Like, how do they get disseminated? Just like the memes and stuff. Like, where does this stuff really generate from? I think anyone, now I'm gonna say this personally, the number of things that I have bought off of, okay, let me tell you something. These earrings, I found out about this company based off of Instagram ads. The lipstick I have on, Instagram ads. This ring, Instagram ads. These bracelets, Instagram ads. This shirt, Instagram ads. So paying for ads works. The necklace, Instagram. I mean, I'm telling you, people need, all you can do is put a little bit of money behind your stuff. I could not tell you how many things I didn't even know existed, and it came down as a paid ad, and I clicked, and now I'm buying it. So
That could be good or bad.
it could be. It could be. I mean, the mug, like I'm literally everything. I got a lot of stuff off of Instagram ads.
Mhm. But, you know, I mean, and so what's interesting is like Instagram seems to have replaced like there was always an economy in hip
Right,
hop. Like hip hop always had like a I'm gonna call it like a hip hop economy.
right,
You know, there that always existed.
right.
You know, I guess the
Well,
Instagram
it
just kind of
helps. I
yeah.
don't think that it should ever replace. I think every artist, you need to have your own website. Don't ever solely rely on social media. And I mean, not even just a WordPress website, but you need to have your own hosting, because we
Mhm.
don't know what's going to happen. And as long as you're relying, like if you're relying on Instagram and you're relying on TikTok and you're relying on this, you still want to have your own. Like, I have a website. I
Mhm.
paid up my domain for like 5 years. Even if I don't have heavy traffic, the fact that it's there, I have it there. I think that, social media is definitely a tool, but it's not a panacea. You've got to
Mhm.
use it. I think people should still do email lists. I think you should still do flyers, because there are events all the time that I miss because a person only promote it on Instagram, or they only promote it on Facebook, or you got to use it all, because the technology is here to make it easier for us. You know, I come from the era of, you know, you had people that, you know, were on street promo teams, and they would go out and they would, you know, staple the posters to the power thing, you know, and they were handing out the tapes and handing out t-shirts, and, you know, so coming from that world and then combining that with this new era, you got to use everything. I mean, whatever's going to get you to your ultimate goal, you gotta do it. But if you are an independent artist, you are not going to be successful without hustle. You can't just, okay, it's out there now, my 30 followers, y'all gotta retweet it.
Well, okay, I do want to just say peace. Okay, so we got Sugar Booger that's here.
Peace.
Let's see who's Megaton SP.
Yeah, that's my peoples right there. What's
right? Timothy Connerson, Mr. Faulty. Who else is here?
Sucker Free.
Ross, is it Ceylon?
Yes, peace. That's fam too.
And okay, yeah, all right, cool. I think we're up to yeah, all right, we're up to speed. Okay, yeah, just like to say peace to people because they stopped by.
Yes.
So okay, so let's talk a little bit about your process, right? So
okay.
You were you spoke a little bit about, you know, one person in particular that you work with, the legend, rest in power, you know, or rise in power, MF Doom. Your roster is like a hip hop. I mean, it's like all the people who, you know what I'm saying, don't nobody wants to go up against anybody that you got on your roster, including yourself. You know what I'm saying? I saw C Ray's walls. I'm like, I see him so many times on the Westport basketball courts and in the before the TV. I'm talking about like back in the days. Like I'm talking about that culture. I mean, it seems like to me that you come from that sort of like, is it the battle culture or is it just more like the spitting culture?
So here's the thing. It's just very interesting, as we talked about freestyling at the beginning. When I started rhyming and like got serious, like 92, and I remember I had like 3 or 4 MCs that came over to the house. We were sitting on the stairs in front of my apartment. And one of them was like, well, if you don't know how to freestyle, you're not a real MC. And I mean, you got to come up with the stuff off the top of your head. And I was like, word? So I got really like, I was like, oh my God, like, okay. Now, coming from a background of like improv, being in a drama club or whatever, I'm like, wait a minute. So that's just improv. So what I would do is when I would be washing the dishes or whatever, I would just be off the top of my head while I was washing the dishes. And then I used to think, man, when we would drive, before I even thought about rapping, I would just take other songs that would come on. I would change the words to fit me. Like I know, and I'm probably not the only person that did that, but like say like a Bobby Brown song came on, I would change all the girls to boys, and you know, I would make it fit me. So that's really a form of freestyling as well. You know, improv on top of your head, you know, thinking on top of your head. So I became just this monster with off the top. Like anytime I would go somewhere and rap, I wouldn't have no written rhymes at all. So when we used to rhyme in a big cipher here, and I can only speak for what I went through here in Atlanta, I never had anybody try to like directly battle me. We were all like, boom, like, okay, this is what I can do. Boom, this is what I can do. And we would just go around like that. So I didn't come from, you know, like how Roxanne Shante used to like, I never had to do that. Okay. Now, because I could freestyle very well, I would always be called upon when any kind of like, okay, Blaze magazine, the Blaze battle came. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't know what I was getting myself into, because even though I had seen battles, I wasn't really a battle MC, but I had a battle-like style because of the way that I rhyme. You know, I'm very, very aggressive with the lyrics, and, you know, but not coming at somebody, but just coming at the beat. You know what I mean? That's how I always looked at it. I was never like competing with other people. So when I got in that Blaze battle and I had to battle somebody from my crew and he talked about my haircut, what I had on, my labret piercing, he called me a lesbian. I mean, and I'm like, oh, this is like playing the dozens. He ain't rapping on some show my skill. He's making fun of me so that he can win. And when I realized that, I'm like, oh, I don't like battles for me. I don't like it because I'm taking that shit personal. Like, you in my crew. So you know my weaknesses. I've talked to you about personal things, and it was kind of some stuff he brought up because I had mentioned my hair was really short, and I had shared with him some experiences I had with, somebody approaching me a certain way. And I'm like, wow, that's what we doing? Okay. And then I've been and they would always put me up against guys. And I'm telling you, every time it was always the way I looked. One dude even talked about I got, I don't always wax my little upper lip hair. I mean, all of that. I had a red, gold, and green beads in my hair. He talking about, yeah, I see your rainbow flag, da 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 da. So I was just like, yeah, let me stop. I mean, I was in several. I did a source battle. Todd One, rest in peace. He had a show, a reality show that he was auditioning artists for, and he called. He was told staHHr can rhyme, but staHHr, I am not a battle MC. But you know what I did very well in when I was in New York, 2004. I went to EO Dub end of the week, and end of the week has the MC challenge where they base it on your skill set. So like we had the grab bag thing, and then they switched the beat up on us, and I did great. I was like in the audience, picked out the audience. Me and the person who had been like the winner for the past 6 or 7 weeks, I was like, I had gotten ahead of him. And what caused me to not win is the fourth round. It's like like you rhyming with you're rhyming with the people who started EO Dub, and it is kind of like a more of a battle type of thing. And so I ended up coming in like second place. So if there's any testament to skill versus insults, now I appreciate battle culture. What it was, I don't like how it is now, where they actually get the opportunity to prepare. You coming in there, y'all not using music. That ain't what I came from. I came more from seeing like what they did in 8 Mile.
Mm-hmm.
Had the music, or they had the music, even though that wasn't. I would have never. I'm too emotional. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm too emotional to do that.
You know what's funny? Well, first I'm gonna say, so Breaking Ground is that the Jamon and Desiree.
But see, that's what battling became, though.
Yeah.
Cracking jokes on people. That's what that's what it became.
Now it's terrible.
It was about how dope you are. But even like when Shani was doing it, but she didn't rely on punchlines. Yeah. She didn't rely on that. See, we went from punchlines to talking about how they got the AK and they gonna shoot, kill, stab somebody. And, people get really disrespectful. And I just personally think that that's counterproductive for me and for what I'm doing this for. It wasn't for me. I have a battle style, but I'm not a battle rapper. So the way that I was able to be around, those different groups of people or those different artists is because just like the labels, I was affiliated with somebody that was on Raucous, or I was affiliated with somebody that was here. And then when I was on Subversion, we would perform together on the same platforms. So that's really how we got to know each other. I would say probably I would have been more like, if I had been in New York, I would have definitely been more like lyricist, and I did the lyricist lounges down here, but the way that they did that on lyricist lounge, that is more of what I would, that was really, I would have loved to have been on that show. Because that's more of where I would have came, not the insulting each other. Not that I can't insult people. I just feel like that's a waste of, that's a waste of
the way they do battles now. I mean, it's weird that it's called hip hop because it's like they don't even rhyme half the time.
Yes, just
they literally just throw insults.
They get like a month to prepare and all that. It's just it's this.
I can't believe that they get a month for
They
what
get
they
a long
produce.
time. It might not be a month, but like they already know in advance who they're battling, so they got time to do research. And
But I mean, for what they produce, it's terrible. It's like not entertaining to me. I'm like, I'm sitting there. My brother watches it,
yeah,
like and he
it's
just
just
watches all the
it's
time. I'm like,
different. Like the 90s battling is way different than what they do now.
it is.
It's
And I
way
was used to that other battling where it's like, everybody's like, oh, because you're rocking, you're rhyming, and it made
right.
sense.
And you can throw some little punchlines and jabs here and there,
Yeah,
but I think when a person makes their whole thing about your gender or your looks,
or
or
killing you.
yeah, I just feel like that's
Like,
just that's a cheap and
that's
easy win.
terrible. Yeah, yeah. So then you did touch a little bit, like you were talking about writing. Um, what percentage would you say that you write versus like, you kind of like if you're going in, do you go off the top when you do music, or are you like, no, I write all my music?
When I go to the studio,
Yeah.
I write any
Okay.
kind of song I'm gonna do. I'm writing. If we're just having to me, freestyle is really. I would like to try doing that just to say I did it. But if I'm gonna go in the studio and record, I like to either write on the spot or come in already prepared. Because I think writing on the spot sometimes, especially when you're working with somebody else, there's another person there to bounce ideas off of. But yeah, I don't have any songs um that I've done that are.
So
I got
what's
plenty of
that like?
freestyles that have been recorded, but
Mhm.
all my songs were written.
So what's that like going in the studio and writing with someone? What's that process
I
like?
love that. Actually, it kind of is a good way to make sure that you're on the same page, because somebody can like email you a beat like, hey, this is a song, this is a concept. But I think it's really dope to be there with the person writing, because if y'all wanted to do like a back and forth, you have the person there, you could other people's perspective when you spitting what you have to somebody else, and they're like, well, why don't you like try it this way, or if you get stuck, or it's just sometimes good to have another set of ears, another brain there. I
Mhm.
like that actually.
Now, when you do that, are you like going in there like you've basically written some stuff and then now you're all like tweaking, or do you go in there and it's like I'm writing from scratch?
If I go to work with somebody and they've sent me the beat ahead of time, 9 times out of 10 I've already written most of, if not all. But a lot of times I get stuck with the last couple of bars. So I'm usually not going to go in the studio without anything at all, even if it's just a couple of lines or a couple of ideas, because the way I tend to write in couplets,
Mhm.
in quatrains, or or sometimes I can sit and just write a whole 16 or a whole 24 or whatever. But I tend to write in a set of bars is basically 2 lines, a
Mhm.
set,
Mhm.
because the count, you counting on the 2 4s, so I write I write based on the way to be. Like some people come in on the 1, some people do the 3. I'm a 2-4 person. I'm a 2. I usually come in on the 2, the 4. Sometimes I might come in because it's the count of the beat.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I don't like to move forward until I've mastered. I've changed that style of writing, because I used to spend a lot of time editing as I went, and I would never get any. I mean, editing at the end, and I would go back. So I don't move on from a line usually until I'm happy with it. So that
Mhm.
by the time I'm done, I don't have to go back and edit anymore, because I already know I'm satisfied with this set of bars. That is
Mhm.
something I started doing like 2017, and it helped me get a lot more work done. Now I
Mhm.
haven't done another album since then, but like I did the Respect Due during that time. Um, and that was, because those were really like writing exercises for me, because I had taken like a 2-year break. So that was a way of me just getting my pen back moving or whatever.
Mhm.
So yeah, I do like having another person though, because it's like as a solo artist, everything is on you. And sometimes the motivation may not be there, the ideas may not be there. When you have another person and they have the concept, or they have this, or they have that, that can be very helpful.
So now let's go back a little bit, because something you said, I'm thinking, when you were talking about there's a cultural mm, specialness about Atlanta. And you talked about being, a part of that, underground scene. So
Yes.
can you take us there, like take us in a time machine, like to that moment, to that period, for you and your development?
So I think what I love the most about Atlanta is that I had the opportunity to be exposed to MCs from all over the country. You know, we had, of course, we had Outkast and the Dungeon Family, and I was here, you know, when that first Outkast single dropped. And just to be from here and having, you know, we had Kilo Ali and DJ Jelly and Raheem the Dream. We had our Atlanta crunk bass music. When we got the Outkast, the Goody Mobs, you know, the Cool Breezes, the Slim Calhouns, the Backbones, the Killer Mikes, lyricism from an Atlanta perspective with our Atlanta slang, our Atlanta landmarks, but real MCs who knew hip hop culture and was really rhyming and coming with wonderful content and social, you know, commentary. It just was amazing to have that. But then I also had people from Philly that I was around, and I had people that came from Chicago, and I had people from the Bay Area, people from LA, of course, New York, Connecticut, New Jersey. So I got to get like little pieces of all these different cities, you know, and just mix all of that up in what I was doing and make my own, you know, my own little thing. Because one thing, nobody ever believes that I'm from the South. That's number one. They don't ever believe that. And I have to always let them know I was born in Memphis, Tennessee. I've never said anything other than I was born in Memphis. I was raised in Atlanta. I'm a Southern girl. I just never had a really heavy Southern accent. And I was heavily influenced, you know, by the East Coast. Dated a lot of guys from the East Coast. So, you know, the nature versus nurture. When you're nurtured by something you're immersed in and you're always around it, you're gonna pick it up. It's gonna rub off on you. And that's just the way I approach my writing and my rhymes. Really, I feel like prior to like 92, 93, in terms of my writing influence, it was all East. Then when I heard Dell, when I heard Ice Cube, solo Ice Cube, Souls of Mischief, The Far Side, that was just so, I'm like, ooh, I love that, you know, I love that. And then, you know, we had Comet. And then even with me being from Memphis, 8 Ball, MJG, they were MCs, but they were talking that Memphis shit. You know what I mean? So what I love most about here is just me being exposed to so much. And it's just a platform, because it didn't matter where you came from. If you could rhyme here, people made space for you. I remember the first time I went somewhere and rhymed, I was so nervous. And to just get that, you're good, keep going. And to have people like, no, you good, like I had so many people pushing me when I started rhyming that I probably evolved and went way faster than I would have if I had just been at home. And, you know, like Nas said back in the days, so keep my little rhymes, because I thought niggas now in every jam about the man. Like, really that experience, because you don't know how good you are necessarily until you do your thing for other people. And when other like, but I do kind of feel too that because I didn't have the typical, you know, I don't even want to say typical, because it's like there's so many different, I'm not the only person from the South that's like me, you know what I mean, either. And that's another thing, like there are lots of us. who just don't present like whatever the stereotype of a Southerner is, because there
Mhm.
really is. That's kind of like an insane thing. Like, well, what's Southern? Oh, y'all, I gotta say, I gotta talk a certain way or dress a certain way, or it's crazy. It's craziness.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like I even had somebody say, like, well, why don't you sound like Outkast? And I'm like, because I'm my own person. That's why. That's why I don't sound like them.
That's funny.
Or even question, well, it would you I would love to hear it. Well, then I don't know what to tell you. Like, so you want me to take on the persona of a group that I'm not a part of because I grew up in a city that those same people grew up in. That's called being a poser, right?
Yeah. Well, I have a different question, but it is about artists.
Okay.
So, you work with like such a huge range of artists. You know what I mean? Like, so from Dead Press to like a Mary Baraka, rest in power. Um, you've collaborated with so many artists. Like I said, I mean, your roster is out of control. Is like your roster is like the the MCs of MCs is on your roster is like, wow. So could you share maybe like some memorable experiences or lessons that you have, learned from like working with such, incredible talents?
Well, I will definitely say this. Even though Doom and I don't have any songs where we're rapping together, the fact that he had enough belief and faith and confidence in me to give me those solo spots on those albums and let me do my thing, just that meant everything. To have him say to me, like, I think you are as dope as I am. Like, I
Mm,
know these cats, he said, they all right. He said, but you are like a female version of me. So to have him, I'm like, huh? What?
wow.
But one of the things that always stuck with me is like, don't date your music. Like when you write a verse, like try not to say the year. And also, don't be scared to rap about whatever. You're a writer, so you shouldn't have any limitations. That's why he created, I feel, so many of those different personas, because yeah, people may only, star raps about this. So I might have to create Anjelika or Barbarella so that I can, I might want to say something a little bit more greasy. Just, and that's still what people assuming that because of what you've done up to this point, that's all you can do. But those personas kind of give you like it's almost like a protection, because in hip hop it's like it's the really the only genres where you're not allowed to, or it's frowned upon for you to write about things that you haven't experienced personally or done. I mean, but a songwriter, or another genre, they can be writers. They're allowed to be writers and use their artistic license. With an MC, your integrity is now all of a sudden, under scrutiny. When
Mm,
as a narrator, you can just be sitting on the block writing about what's going on around you. Doesn't mean you had to do it firsthand or personally. And I really don't, I really hate that we're like that. Like, people don't want to accept the fact that there are ghostwriters in hip hop, and there always have been ghostwriters in hip hop. People don't want to accept that because at some point we were told, like me, you're not a real MC if you don't freestyle. There are MCs that will never freestyle that are amazing, but they're never going to go anywhere and rhyme off the top of their head. So does that mean that they're not real? They're not real MCs because they can't do that? I mean, this is a real interesting conversation because people don't want to accept that, hip hop music, rap music is still a genre of music, and it is also still entertainment. So, you shouldn't have to create a whole different persona to talk about some stuff. But I guess that's the loophole. That's the workaround for it. But I'm a writer first. I was a writer before I ever thought about being an MC, and I feel like whatever I want to write about, I should be able to write about it. You can observe something and have a perspective on it based on an observation. You don't necessarily have to have lived something to be able to talk, because the people who go through things, they may not be able to put it into words. So at a certain point, as a narrator, you're speaking for the voiceless. You're speaking for those who can't speak.
That's
Everybody
a good
have a way
perspective.
with words and a gift of words. So you mean to tell, okay, well, I can't tell this story because I didn't firsthand experience it, but I know I can write though. We'll never get some of the stories because everybody wasn't blessed with the gift to be able to write. So
or tell their story.
Right. But I think it's about claiming things that you didn't do. That's where the issue comes. I feel like you can write about whatever. Just cite your sources. I mean, any good researcher knows, cite your sources. List your references, and those of us who, wrote papers, wrote research papers, you got to cite your sources. That's all. But that's my perspective. Everybody may not agree. I also don't necessarily have, this is going to be real controversial. I know that there are MCs that I love that have had ghostwriters, and it doesn't make me look at them as any less of an artist. It doesn't. I know that's probably
they know how to perform the song.
I know that's an unpopular opinion, but a lot of people that, Queen Latifah didn't write her own rhyme. Queen Latifah is one hell of a MC though.
Spitter. Yeah, she's a
right.
People
so
can
whether she wrote everything or not, you cannot take her contribution from her. You can't.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of MCs didn't write that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, again, it's just people would be surprised if they knew some of the people that got ghostwriters. That's all I'm gonna say.
I know one of the biggest jokes that we used to have is that one of the biggest secrets in hip hop is that everybody's secretly rhyming Most Def. He's one of the biggest ghostwriters, or at least at the time. I don't know, now he might be chilling, but it's just interesting. When you learn right later, like, but yeah, some people perform, and some people are great, like, with the ideas, but they don't know how to perform their
I've been to shows, and you can just, there's MCs that have the worst stage presence or in the world, but their recorded music is amazing. I mean, amazing.
And vice versa. Now, there's a lot of MCs I know whose stage presence is dope,
and their music is trash.
Their music is trash.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's like, it's a lot of MCs I know.
Yeah.
Like live, they're like, they get you hype and all that. They're dope. They can go off the top. They're amazing. Very, lyrical. But I don't know. Their music is just
right. I think that when it comes to being like a real MC, people expect somebody like a Drake to have a writer, or a Puffy to have a writer. I think when if people were to like, what would you do if you found out, your top 5, one of your top 5 people had a ghostwriter? Like, what would you do? How would you feel?
What would you do? That's a good song. That's a good song.
So, I mean, at this point, I feel like I know that Dell spoke on how to give him, work. Ice Cube had him writing for him and Yo-Yo. Yo-Yo's perfectly capable of writing rhymes. So it wasn't done, but it wasn't done because she couldn't write. It was done because he was looking out for his cousin. He was trying to make sure everybody ate. So, he may have, helped on songs or whatever, but it didn't mean that she didn't write. You know what I mean? And that's another thing people don't understand. If you help write the chorus, and you my people, and I'm putting money in your pocket, you get writer's credit. I just don't think, again, and that's how, like, people don't really know how the business. Okay, that's your opinion. And that's
Mhm.
fine. And you're entitled to have that opinion. But I bet you when you find out how many of your greats have ghostwriters, it's gonna be a day for you when you find that out. It's gonna be a day for you when you find that out. It's gonna be a day for you. So
So I have a question about respect due.
okay.
So
I write all my own rhymes also. I've never used a ghostwriter.
yeah,
I've been
for the
asked to
record.
ghostwrite for someone before
For the
though, but
record.
I didn't do it. But I
Yeah.
definitely write all my own rhymes.
Yeah, that's on record. That's on record.
That's fine. I'm not gonna argue with you about it, honey. That's your opinion. I said in the music business, there are a lot of people that get people to write for them, and it doesn't mean that they can't write. But
Right.
there are a lot of people that do it. A lot. You would be surprised. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's it. It ain't nothing to argue about. You are entitled to feel how you feel. Right on.
Yeah. All right, so respect due, right? It's a pretty unique project, right? And you pay homage to a lot of unsung heroes in hip hop. So yeah, let's talk about this song. Like, well, first I'll ask, what is it that you wanted people to take away from that song?
Oh well, respect due is a whole. Which one? Because it's a whole bunch. Or you mean just in general when I wrote them, what I wanted them to take away from? Well, see, respect due was something I did coming off of like a 2-year hiatus. I felt that I was really boxed in as an artist. I got really boxed into being a conscious artist. Not that there's anything wrong with being conscious, but okay, so if I'm a conscious artist, does that mean if I want to do a different type of song, that ain't, I just don't like to be totally in a box. And anything I'm gonna write is gonna have a level of cognitive awareness to it because or cognizant awareness to it because that is who I am. But it's kind of like you got dreads, you wear red, black, and green, you eat tofu, you kind of get pitched into this corner. I remember I did meet both MOP, but me and Fame, like I love MOP, and I'm like, Fame, I want to work with you. And he's like, I'm gonna cuss. I said, that's fine. I might cuss on the song too. I want you to do what you do. I don't want you to change who you are. I love MOP. I'm inspired by MOP. I don't necessarily have to rap like them to be inspired. So with the respect due, I wanted to just showcase that I could rhyme on many different types of beats. I could come, with many different approaches. And what I would do is just let the beat tell me what to write. Like I didn't go to any of the beats with a preconceived whatever. Like, I rhymed over the Dwit beat. I was talking about, being molested when I was little. Like that's, because that's what came out. I talked about religion and my experience with the church and, other things I went through. But that wasn't what I sat down to write about, but that's what that particular beat brought out of me. I did a respect due over Ain't No Fun to where I flipped it on, oh, okay, word. So basically the woman's response to how greasy they was talking on Ain't No Fun to women. I'm like, oh, okay. I thought you could scoop me, but I'm not a groupie. Like, okay. Just that's how, because you have to, I'm a Snoop fan. So I'm not
Mhm.
allowed, as a girl with dreads that, burns incense. I can't like Snoop. So that was just my way of saying, like, don't stereotype, don't box me in. I'm a hip hop head. I love hip hop. I love various forms and versions of hip hop, but I can get on any beat and do what I do and it still be dope. And that was the whole, that was really the whole inspiration and motivation behind respect due. I wanted to show that I could get on any beat and still do what I do and it'd be dope.
Wow.
So, and also because they were beats that a lot of beats I always loved, or yeah, I
Mhm.
picked. I'm eventually gonna do another set, but yeah, I went through and just picked beats I really, really always just loved.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, that's super cool. Well, but speaking of which, but you, but you're so some. I'm gonna say something. Maybe it's an opinion. It seems as though some MCs do let's say like play an activist on TV, but you actually are, you've actually been involved. You're actually activated, I'll say, in justice. Whether it's talking about political prisoners or, like you said, police terrorism. I mean, anyway, a lot of social issues that you've dealt with. And so, can you talk about like living this for real? Like this is your real life, right?
Right. I mean, because even if I wasn't rapping, I would have been out there marching for Mumia. I would have been out there for Troy. Either way, it just helped that, I did that, and that was a way for me. Because here's the thing. Everybody is not meant to be the one that's gonna, like I can't do what Kalanji does. But I met Kalanji because of what I do. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like you don't have to be on the front line to help and have an impact to whatever is going on. And when people say, well, I didn't sign up to be a role model and it's not my responsibility. Artists have always been involved in every political movement, resistance, whatever. So Sam Cooke, he is probably one of the best examples of activism and dealing with social issues through music. No one's saying you gotta strap a bomb on yourself and go stand on the courtroom steps. But if you got a voice and you can say something, even what I wear, it's revolutionary for me to get on a stage and have on a shirt with, Assata Shakur on it, because that's a visual thing. So somebody's gonna be like, who is that on that shirt? And then that's a moment for me to do some PE with them. Because I think sometimes people just feel like, I don't want to take on this responsibility. It's a lot, and I don't want to. If you rap, you already on a file somewhere, especially with certain people. So there's already a file on you somewhere. You are already being watched. You didn't know that. You didn't know that hip hop was actually. See, I'm really hurt some feelings. You didn't know that even within all that hip hop was something that was created to destroy us. Yeah, we were doing it. But when them labels and stuff got involved and they started infiltrating, a lot of the things that you thought you liked because you liked it, you were programmed to like. They don't want to
You
talk
talking
about
that Jared talk now.
They don't want to talk about that though. They don't want to talk about that. So I feel like my contributions have been what I'm comfortable with. Some things I was a little bit more comfortable going further than others. But I think that it's important that if you have a platform, when you can, and you don't gotta like OD. You can do very subtle things. I always, even in my videos, I always try to make sure that I have certain imagery, because people are gonna watch a video multiple times and it's going to, sink in. But I've always been drawn, to the plight of people that don't necessarily have a voice or have someone to speak for them, or I just feel like, because if I have the ability to be able to use my voice to help somebody, I'm gonna do it. I may not do it every time, but I'm gonna do it when I'm able to do it. It doesn't take much. If we can rattle off the name of these designers and tell people how to make their little codeine syrup. If you can do that, you can talk about social issues to a degree. You can.
Well, since we have just a second, I have one last question for you because we're at 1 hour.
Oh, well, we can keep going. This is going smooth. Let's keep going.
Okay, okay.
Let's keep going.
But so before we go into the next part, I just wanted to say free Palestine and stand with Palestine. You know, we stand with
Yes,
Palestine.
I stand with Palestine. I should have worn my Free Palestine hoodie.
Yeah. So
Um,
so this next section, you know, okay, so this is something that always gets talked about. All right. So I'm sure people have been asking you this question probably since you started rhyming. Everyone always wants to know about these women. What's wrong with these women rappers? Like, what's going on with them? And what's going on with the state of hip hop right now? What's wrong with hip hop? But that's not what I'm going to ask you. What I do want to ask you though is I do want to ask you about like your how you see the future of hip hop, like from your perspective. And it could be either um your participation, or you could talk about, you know, hip hop as a whole, or just however you see that. But like just the in you know, we're at the 50 mark. We're celebrating 50 this year. Like what do you see like ahead, or would like to see maybe?
I excuse me. I think that you know, more artists being comfortable with being independent and changing their idea and concept of actually what success is, you know, because for years, oh, if you don't have a Grammy, I see that in a lot of these online debates. Well, he won 5 Grammys. Well, the Grammys are voted on by the Grammy board, not, you know, the public. So that doesn't really mean anything either. However, because it is something that is like a status symbol in the music world, even if an artist says it doesn't matter, they wouldn't be upset if they got one. Because we saw what happened with Tribe Called Quest. Like they said, I never let a Grammy tell me how nice I am. But then when they were overlooked, they were pissed. And I feel like rightfully so, especially if you knew people on the Grammy board who could have voted for you and they didn't.
And you're considered
Right.
one of the top legends
Right.
like
Right. I
ever.
mean, it would make sense that if this coveted award was being handed out, you should have gotten it. So I understand that frustration, but we have to also know that the mainstream was never set up for people who went against the status quo. And what they do is they let one in. They let one little token in. So you think that you have a chance. But nobody's going through that machine without sacrificing or giving up something or compromising in some way. So I don't really have any desire to be involved in certain things like the awards. All that stuff is, you know, it's make believe. It really is a show. It's a put on. It's a ritual. You know, in a lot of ways. I don't. To me, success. You know what success for me would be? Being able to tour Africa, Asia, Europe, Australia, South America, Canada, and being able to make enough money that I could pay all my bills, take care of my family. That to me would be success. I don't have to win a Grammy. I don't have to win an American Music Award. I don't need a Barbie doll. They ain't gotta put me on a Wheaties box. I would just love to be able to travel the world and take care of my family, doing what I love to do the way that I love to do it. To me, that is success. To some people, success for them is to be the first conscious artist to have a Billboard 100 hit on, and that's fine if that is someone's goal. It's not mine. I don't think there's anything wrong with people wanting that. It's just not what I want. I don't want that because I don't want what comes with it. I saw what happened to Lauryn Hill. That's all I needed to see. I'm good. You know, because Lauryn really took a hit. She did as an artist that had a message, and the beauty standard. She just was so, and they devoured her. The industry devoured her and spit her out. And then now we make jokes about her being late. Like she said, I'm trying to change the world and y'all complain about my lateness. Like, do you know what I sacrificed for you? She stood up in the Vatican and she called the Catholic Church out for what they did to those children. Who else would do that? Who else would do that to themselves? Who else would sacrifice like that? That's a huge sacrifice, to stand up for what's right, knowing that you're going to probably be condemned. Your life might be threatened. You could be blackballed, whatever. Everybody's not built like that. And when we talk about the politics and the social awareness and the social issues, how many artists, Sinead O'Connor, we gonna talk about Sister Sinead.
Yeah, rising power.
May Allah be pleased with her.
Mm-hmm.
She used her platform in the same way, even though she knew her career was going to be threatened, because you going up against the Jesuits, you going up against the Catholic Church, because there is no separation of church and state. There isn't at all. They tell us that, but the church runs the state and the church is the state. We just don't. The common person just doesn't know that. There's no separation. But that's a conversation for a whole other venue, right? So when a person does that, they have to know. I mean, Harry Belafonte, he was very politically outspoken. Even Stevie Wonder, but Stevie is still here. But you see, we don't hear from Stevie as much as we did, because you do kind of get, when you're not willing to play the game, the business is very unforgiving. They're very unforgiving, because by you being given the access to that world, you got to give them something. Why you think? And I know you said we weren't going to talk about the women, but we're going to talk about the women. The women that have these platforms now are being encouraged, because what possible revolution are they going to spark? They helping keep us dumbed down and at a low vibrational frequency. And they expressing themselves and they didn't ask to be role models and they get into the bag. Okay, that's fine. Now, when your little 7-year-old girl come home singing them songs, let me see if you feel the same way, because we can say all day children should be looking up to their parents. They shouldn't be idolized. Come on, man. You grew up idolizing people, dummy.
But I think also too, the devices do babysit our kids.
Exactly. Like, come on. Like, people be acting like they kids don't have, don't be on the tablet all day.
I think also too, what's interesting, because I do a lot of work with like feminism, and so I think a lot of the younger people, younger than me, what they've said is that is more about the sexual, like not having their bodies policed. But I guess like my argument is more like, it feels like a lot of it is for the gaze of men or whoever, but it feels like it's a gay, that it's not.
To me, it's very
for someone else's gaze.
performative.
It's very performative.
It's very performative, and I'm with you, babe. Trust me. I love to have on as little clothing as possible, and as a Muslim woman, that's a huge statement. But when I'm in my house, but I feel like there's a time and a place for everything, and that's what I mean. It was just certain things that I knew not to do in front of my parents. I knew not to do in front of my aunties. I knew not to do in front of my grandmother. But it didn't mean that I am totally for women having complete agency of their body. But it's like, we don't keep anything secret and sacred. Not that we're hiding it, but just like, why does everybody deserve to see your body? Why does everybody deserve to know what's going on in your bedroom? Why? You can't be empowered without the entire world knowing what you do. To me, what's empowering is when I'm doing all of this stuff and don't nobody know, and I could just be in the room like, dang, I ain't got no panties on under this dress. Let's just say, for example, that's a private moment of my body not being policed because I ain't got no drawers on, and I'm in this room with y'all. And I'm just saying as an example, like there are so many ways to not be policed, as it were. But
and
then,
also
like,
too, but it brings the question, right? Like, who is it for? So, like, for
right.
instance, like, I agree, like, we need to get to a point where we can talk about things. We need to get to a point where we're not shaming. Like, we have to get to those places.
But we do need a little bit of shame. I'm gonna be honest with you. We need a little bit of shame. We need some grannies. We need some grannies to hit us in the back of the head with a pocketbook, snatch us up. Some of us need that. Some of us need we do. We gotta stop saying that everything is okay because I got the right. Well, I have the right too to not see that. So why is a person's right to be free and reckless more of a value than of my right to not have to see it? Seriously. Because it's like we all got rights, right? And then,
but like, who is it for real? That's my question.
Within feminism, and it's the reason why I have a little bit of contention with it, because it's like if it's about a woman having a choice. So if a woman chooses to be submissive to a man, or she chooses this for herself, why does she get condemned? Like, why is that's my agency? So if my agency is I want to be conservatively dressed, I want to have a man be the head of my household, why is that any different? Just for example, because I kind of feel like women being free to do what they want to do is what I've always understood feminism to be about. And now you correct me if I'm wrong, but a woman making choices for herself.
Yeah.
And doing what she chooses to do. So
yeah, exactly.
Every woman's gonna choose something different. And I feel like I guess things that would be seen as more traditional are usually so under attack as if that's a bad thing. But then I know women that are feminists that are totally submissive at home with their partner too. So it's kind of like,
but that's also like very narrow, like not you. I'm just saying the way in which a lot of, let's say, like white women or like white feminism kind of narrows it to like just that. I think the broader aspect of what I would say is grassroots feminism, or feminism that's more for like Black folks and people of color, poor people, real people.
What we've naturally done always.
What we've always done.
We just putting it up on yeah, because really we didn't have the luxury of being oppressed in the same way that white women did.
Yeah,
we
and
had
also
an oppression.
Too.
We had an oppression, but it wasn't like, oh, I can't go to work. I can't do it. We had to work.
Yeah, but also too,
we had to do that.
Your grandma is the head of the household, right? Even if granddad is there,
right?
He about to listen to what she got to say. I'm saying in general, but
no, you're right. You're right. You are right.
She's running things
because they still had. This is what I deal with, and this is what you deal with, and there was a little bit more of a respect for the like. Okay, I'll use my family as an example. So my grandmother and my grandfather got married extremely young. He was about 3 years older than her. And then back then, we all know some of our grandparents got married at 15, 14, 16, 13. They got married because that was just what it was. And they had children. They had a farm. My grandmother gave birth to 11 babies. So she was always home. My grandfather she didn't have to go do nothing. He went and got the groceries. He went and did this. He did everything outside of the home. Inside of the home, She took care of all of it.
Mhm.
Now, I don't know that that was necessarily the best way, but my grandmother never had to worry about certain things until my grandfather died,
Mm.
because it was just certain things he did and certain things that she did, and that's just how they did it. I mean, it's also back in the 20s and the 30s, so a
Mhm.
totally uh different world. Um, so I just it's I don't think there's any easy answers in that.
No, that's what I'm
You know,
saying. I think
I don't
like
think
that
there's any
narrow
easy answers
view
there.
of like I think like the binary and the narrow view, I think
Right.
that's like white people stuff. I think like our stuff is so varied. Like like we've always had different types of structures in our house, or different, that's always played up, we've
Right,
always,
right, crates of JR, exactly.
yeah, we've always had different structures in our home, right? Like,
Yeah,
w-
because
you
again,
know,
yeah, when you think about matriarchy, you look at indigenous cultures, there were matriarchs. You go to different parts of the mother continent, matriarchs. So it's like to have people who didn't even value their women,
right.
you know what I mean? And then that's the standard that we're supposed to be following.
Which, if we circle back, is the music industry.
It is.
And
It
then
definitely
there's the
is.
and then there's what you're doing, right? Creating
Even
your own
though music
industry.
is a feminine expression, so when they talk about music, they refer to her as a her. So you would think that a woman in hip hop would be like on a pedestal, because hip hop is the feminine, right? The divine feminine. It's a feminine expression, and that probably explains why a lot of these dudes is they.
Uh-oh.
I mean,
That's another
you got to
show.
think about it. MCs are poets.
Yeah.
So that's not like the most aggressive, but we took the poetry and we made it into like a warrior, type of thing. But it really is a feminine, and feminine and masculine has nothing to necessarily do with your gender, which also blows people's minds. There are feminine things that ain't got nothing to do with sex. There are
Mhm.
masculine things that ain't got nothing to do with sex, because it's a one of the universal laws, masculine and feminine. Or I guess, yeah, your gender. You know what I mean? Like, okay,
Mhm.
boom, with the electric socket and the plug,
Mhm.
you got the feminine and the masculine.
Mhm.
Now, that's not a man and a woman; it's just a feminine and a masculine. So there's expression that doesn't have anything to do with a physical person walking around. It's an expression. It's a vibration. So I think when we look at everything from a dual nature, it's hard for us to get up out of that, because we look at things in a linear way instead of in a cyclical way, because all of these things intersect. Aha.
Yeah, and that's who we are, right? We're
It's all
complex.
things do intersect. It's
Mhm.
not just black or white. It's not
Right.
just right or wrong. It is
Right.
there is, you know, there's such a I mean, it could be it's a spectrum, really.
Yeah,
It
there's a
really is.
complexity to us all,
Right. Because I'm gonna be honest with you. Now, some of this music I've listened to different, different, because I'm not gonna talk about an artist and I haven't ever listened to any of the music. As much of it as I can stand, I will listen. There are songs that I like. There are songs that I do not like. And I don't care how anybody feels about whether I like it or not. It's certain stuff to me that's just ignorant, and I would never say, "Oh yeah, girl, you
Right.
get that bag." No,
Right.
no,
Yeah.
ma'am. Same thing with these dudes, because they talk
Mhm.
about stuff I don't want to hear either.
Yeah.
A lot of them do. It's really this is not just the women doing it. The men do it too. They
Oh,
talk about
yeah.
the same, the drugs and the cars and the weed and the guns, and it's like everybody got the same story. And that's what
Everybody.
I'm saying. Everybody can't possibly have the same story. So people is up here getting upset. Oh, they're not keeping it real. So you really believe all of these rappers sold crack? Y'all believe that? Y'all believe all of these rappers carrying big guns? Any more than you believe that these married women that are twerking all over each other in these videos, but they go home with their husbands and they packing their daughters healthy ass lunches to go to school with. But they got your dumb ass thinking, that you can be a hot girl and have you a hot girl summer and be a city girl. Meanwhile, they do the cooking and the cleaning and they be quiet. But they're telling you to be a whore.
Mm.
And you don't even get it. Beyonce does the same thing. Talk about single ladies with 3 children and a husband.
Look, I'm gonna have to bring you back.
I'm just saying, make it make sense. Make it make sense. They got y'all forfeiting a life that they're at home living because they're giving you a persona because it's entertainment. See, then that's when it's entertainment. Now they not responsible. I'm an entertainer. I'm not a role model. But your musical life and your personal life not matching up.
Yeah.
So which one is it?
Right.
Which one is it?
Oh my God. I'm gonna cut us off right here because I'm gonna bring you back. Because guess what? You gotta do the freestyle. But I know I threw that on you like blah. You're like, what?
You did. I mean, oh man, I'm gonna have to get. It would be nice if I had some music, but I can do it off the. Let me get some water. It's been a while since I freestyle. I mean, it's like the Green Mile.
You just
I
run
got
right
that magic
there.
touch. I don't gotta roll a Dutch and spark it. But see, it's like I need okay, hold on. It's difficult to do this. I just want y'all to know the level of difficulty that there's no music, there's no inspiration. Oh, a cap. Okay, you do it then. Can we bring somebody in? You freestyle this. This is so easy. You come in on the top of the head. Or get them to throw some topics. Yeah, because I need something. I don't rap on a daily basis. So I'm not even gonna sit up here and pretend with you. If I was actively in the studio every day, somebody throw some topics so I can rap about it so I can redeem myself. See, now they quiet. Now I ain't got nothing for me.
They say they're looking around for the Bayhive.
I don't want to do a written. I don't want to do a written rhyme. Okay. Yeah, see, that's not gonna work either. Because what's a revolutionary bar? I'm a single mother that's holding it down by myself. What's more revolutionary than that? That's revolutionary. Music business. War. Okay, we in the midst of a spiritual war right now. I hope y'all understand that. The music business or the band rap. I was at the grocery store earlier. You understand that? At the hot bar Whole Foods, getting collard greens and their chicken fried tofu. Hope you understand. I don't really want to do this, but the fans demand. So I can't throw up my hands. Love always wins. I got it tattooed on my arm to the very end. I'm not gonna spit it written either. I mean, I just freestyle. Y'all do realize that I've been freestyling, so I don't know that was it not long enough?
No, that was good. That was already
supposed to be a certain length.
No.
I gave you what I had. I can't fake it.
No, you gave us two.
I can't. I mean, you want me to be genuine, right?
No, that was good.
That make up a rap and say it so these people won't say, well, she said she could freestyle and she ain't really freestyling. But she be buck wilding like she from Long Island. Exactly. I agree. I'm not feeling it. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. And we need to normalize allowing MCs not to rhyme when they say they don't feel like rhyming. Because when we're pressured, then we say something that's on the internet forever, and people come back and say, she can't rhyme. I feel like I've definitely proven myself time and time again that I can freestyle off the top of the dome. There's several videos. Nah, I'm not gonna be fake for any reason. Not gonna do that. You'll just have to accept the little broken up freestyle that I gave y'all and be okay with that. Because it's just not coming. And anybody that rhymes knows when it's not coming, it's not coming. I don't know. I don't know what else to tell you. Yeah, I don't have any music. I'm sitting in my room. It's hot. I haven't eaten dinner. Like, hold on, let's see. Or I could just be doing all of this as a clever ruse to make you think that I can't really freestyle, and then I'm gonna come with something after I take this sip of water. See, y'all might have just fell into the trap. It's bigger than rap. It's no cap. I used to have the naps. Now that is slick like the rebirth of. I wish we could rebirth Dove. Rest in peace, True Goy. They got to deploy more angels. We got to hit them from all angles. It's a spiritual war. You understand? It's nothing you could do in the body of man. You got to come out of that, because that's what we about to be when we counteract. You see what's going on in Palestine. You think that ain't going to happen over here? You blind. Why you think they got the sexy reds and the Krishans and blue faces to distract you so they can attack you? React, fool. That's it. I didn't prove nothing. I really rhymed because I wanted to rhyme. I'm done. That was the freestyle. Oh, I can't hear you. I can't hear. Can y'all hear me? I can't hear you, sis. You muted. Why you muted? Oh, okay, okay. Thank you, Desiree. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes you got to build it up. What happened? I can't hear. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me? In the chat room, can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me clearly? Can y'all hear me clearly? Well, I'm just going to sit here and wait. She got an hour and a half out of me. I said an hour and a half. And we did it. Oh, okay. I can't hear y'all. Let me stop. Yeah, she has it on she has it on me. Yeah, this is I definitely got to come back, because she sent me so many questions. I don't even think we did like half of the questions. Oh, Desiree, thank you. All right, but I am hungry and I got food. I really did go to the whole bar and I really did go to the see, I was really freestyling and y'all wasn't. I really did go to the hot bar Whole Foods and I got that tofu and I got some mac and cheese and I got the sriracha Brussels sprouts and some collard greens and I really want to eat. I'm hungry, y'all. I'm hungry. Yeah, we definitely got to come back and do part 2. I was, and that's another thing. It's kind of like when I had to come to the realization with that it doesn't have to always be music for it to be bars. Exactly. I don't know. I want to come to Detroit too. Hopefully we can work something out and she can get me up there. I've never I've been through Detroit on the way to Toronto, but I actually would love to come to Detroit and do some performing. I need to get back in the studio. I just graduated from college though. So that's really the world I've been in since last summer. I march in my little cap and gown on December 12th, my bachelor's of science in sociology. So I have been completely consumed in that. And we were going to talk about that tonight too, but we ran out of time because I started college in 1994. So for me to finally have that degree in 2023 with all the stopping and starting I did, and I finally got it, that's just such a huge thing. So if you take nothing else away, like if you got that one or two classes, like go back, you can take, I did everything online. It's worth it just for the sense of completion for yourself. Like I feel like, man, that's a huge thing. And I finally completed. And that's another thing too. A lot of these job recruiters, they look at college graduate as you being able to complete um, a task. Basically, you complete something regardless of what you necessarily got the degree in. So that's how people get jobs that's not in their field all the time, because that degree is proof that you can finish an assignment. I'm not sure, just because of the simple fact that it took me this long to do the bachelor's. Now with my degree, it would benefit me to do a master's or a doctorate, but it's just really going to depend on a couple of things. My academic advisor is really pushing me master's, PhD. And I'm like, can I just get the first degree first? We'll see. If I can make it make sense, I might. I was talking with somebody earlier who's getting a PhD in sociology and in law, which I just think is just so fascinating. So I want to talk to them a little bit more about what led them to choose to do such a thing. Because sociology is all writing and research. So you gonna be writing. Yeah, I really thank you, Tyrell. I really want to go eat, but then I don't want to leave. Let me see if she's trying to like email me or something. Let's see. No, she did not. I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave, Piper. I don't know, y'all. What should I do? She said, hold on a minute. Maybe because we went over the time. Well, no. She said other people have gone too. I don't know. Is this going to be archived? Thanks, Marley. I just don't want to leave because I don't know what she told me to hold on a second and come back. Uh-oh, what happened? It's like it went away and then it came back. Okay, wait a minute. What happened?
Can y'all hear me?
Oh, wow. Okay, you're back. We can now. Ah, damn. And now we can't.
Okay, yeah.
Now we can.
I just can't.
Oh, what is this, man?
Sorry about that. I just
Okay.
had some.
Oh, man. I don't know what's going on now. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go because this we getting close to 10 o'clock and I need to eat. I'm hungry. I could taste my food. All right. I'm leaving. Thank you all. Thanks to everyone that joined. Definitely appreciate y'all. And I look forward to coming back. Hopefully by that time I'll have new music out, so it'll be a whole different conversation. Okay. So, what should we do? Just leave, Piper? Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay. So, she said that she has it in the description, but I'll just tell y'all. So staHHr, you can put that in any of the digital service providers. My music is everywhere digitally. I have a Bandcamp page under Star. Um, I'm Star on Twitter, Star on Facebook, Star on Instagram, and then Star Music, and that's staHHrmusic.com. So that's where I'm at. It's okay, Piper. I'm gonna head out. Just email me if anything, sis. I enjoyed it, and we'll definitely do it again because we definitely an hour and a half wasn't even enough time. It really wasn't. Oh, you're welcome. Rouse pasta sauce. So you're the real. I want to know you're the real Rouse pasta sauce. And when I go to Whole Foods and I go to Kroger and I see that, that's you. Now I gotta go buy. I gotta go out and buy a jar because I've been like, dang, I need to try that. I need to try that. I need to try that. So now I'm gonna try it. Next time I go to the grocery store, I'm getting me some. You're welcome. And I sure will. Thank you, Ricardo. Oh, you too, sis. Thank you so much. I'm so glad we were finally able to get this done after years of trying. I'm telling you. Oh, great. Awesome. So, all right, y'all take care. Peace.